Son, you're not gonna say anything?
At this point, I've gotten so tired of. I was supposed to be the main character. Yeah, and not only have I been completely inefficient, I got overtaken by my own dad.
Hey, it's not all bad. I mean, you got to drive the motorcycle during that awesome set piece.
What is a fort doing here?
Yeah, one set piece. Meanwhile, my dad kept telling me what to do. Who do you think he is? My dad?
You know,
That's the thing. That's the thing, Teo. The developers really wanted a fort level, and they just put it in here because.
You know what, JD? To be fair, your father has a pedigree, though. You know, he is the renowned face of Gears. It's not like you got replaced by a complete random who has little to no character and will leave
Pedigree. He was the guy who decided that staying in a bar during a hurricane was a good idea.
Not a god. What did I tell you, JD? Not a goddamn word about that.
So, is this safe enough?
I said like 10.
Not lately, no. We should be safe in here until that.
Well, look at the bright side, JD. It's better that you get usurped by your father, not by a completely random character who has little to no character until she leeches his character off.
Yeah, I know.
You can just sit down and wait, right?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I'm sorry. Hold on.
It's the same move that Sony would rip off 4 years later.
Anyway, could you repeat that too?
Like, so now that you're technically safe from the windflare, you can just sit down and stay here and wait, right?
No,
right?
Teo. Instead, we're gonna move on, and when we get out of here, the windflare will be mysteriously gone.
But why though? Like
I said,
you're literally in a safe place here. You can just wait the couple of hours that it needs for this thing to pass.
Like I said to you, Game of Thrones Season 8 logic is the game now.
Well, JD kinda forgot about the windflare.
Yeah,
trust me,
that's the interesting
all
thing.
these cables, jeez.
You see, that's the interesting thing.
Oh no!
Oh,
Take a wild guess at what that is, Teo.
I don't want to know.
It's a locust. It's a locust cocoon.
Ew, ew.
There you go. See, that's what that butterfly metaphor was for.
Well, you're glowing now, so that's.
You see, that's the interesting thing about. I haven't seen Game of Thrones at all, never mind Season 8. But the one meme I've seen the most regarding that is when people make a checklist of stuff that of comparing one series finale to Game of Thrones season.
Alright, cutscene.
That one was right compared to the other one.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Please don't touch that thing.
Okay, Teo, you're kind of about to get a sort of.
Wait,
Not sure that's a good idea.
Marcus?
Yeah. Me neither.
But why?
Why, Marcus?
What the fuck, Marcus?
Why, Marcus? Why are you so stupid in this game?
Oh, fuck. Seriously.
Well, at least something horror-like happened in this game finally.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
So that we can
Remember, Teo. This is not Marcus. This is a crazy asshole who stole Marcus's identity. So.
Okay. Regardless of that, Teo. So get this. Inside the cocoons are the people that have been disappearing. Meanwhile, the locusts that we saw had those weird things on their skin here. And considering the metaphor about the butterfly, starting to get what's going.
No, Teo. They're literally turning people into locusts. Don't even ask me how that works, because that was never established in the original trilogy, but whatever.
Well, apparently says this ain't locust.
Basically, Teo, people... Go ahead, Trevor, sorry.
Basically, Teo, we're kind of pulling a bit of a Prometheus here. Granted, we're not exactly suggesting that locusts created humans, but instead that, well, humans are compatible enough to be turned into locusts. Now, you're probably
thinking...
thinking...
the subtitle just say this is not a locust thing?
That's the thing, Dwebs. Later on, they're gonna contradict that. That's the thing. This game kind of wants to have its kick and even too. They want to kind of try to say, oh, no, the locusts are totally gone. But then there will be other points where they literally say that they have literally Marcus say the locusts have never died, and these are literally locusts. And there's...
This port is chock full of them.
I swear to you, Dwebs, I have no clue.
Oh.
I literally have no clue, Dwebs. Sorry.
And I must scream.
Basically, Tio, here's the basic gist. The locusts from the original trilogy did remain dead. The problem is that these new locusts now are being created from humans.
The problem is, Jova, there's one locust from the original trilogy that is gonna be alive eventually.
And,
No, not a ram.
I wish it was Ram. It would have been a good opportunity for it to be Ram, wouldn't it have been? But
Who's
no.
Ram again?
The final boss of the
scary
first
general of the first game.
The final boss of the first game.
Wait, so instead of someone coming back from the dead, you want someone to come back from the dead?
What? No.
Well, what they're saying is, if we're gonna, at least it would be the lesser of the two evils, at least.
Let me put it like this, dude. Ron coming back would have been better than the person. Yeep.
Yeah, what I said. Jova's going for the lesser of two evils principle, basically.
Well,
Not just that.
None of the two evils, but...
Well, yeah.
Oh God!
See, the problem is that you keep expecting these ideal scenarios that aren't unreal. So.
If I can actually be allowed to speak for myself on that here, I'm not going for a lesser of yes. We just saw Marcus get eaten.
Go ahead, Jova. Sorry.
I'm not going for a lesser of two evils. Like, I honestly think that Rom coming back could have actually been interesting. Like, again, Rom was actually someone who was popular with the fans. Like, if the Locust did have to come back, Rom would have been somebody that people probably would have enjoyed coming back, you know? Maybe just come up with something like, oh, he spent all this time incubating and, you know, maybe got cloned or some crap like that. Or, you know, say his DNA got mixed in with one of them. That's fine. The person who actually does come back raises so many questions narrative-wise. Not only that, but the methodology of bringing them back is icky, to say the least. Very icky. Let's just say that has to do with Reyna.
So there you go. So there you go. Now that we don't have our guide, we have to basically wander around and hope we reach the place where Marcus was taking us.
But we've been doing that anyway.
Okay, so let's recap.
Marcus just got eaten in front of us.
You mean Crazy Asshole just got eaten? Crazy Asshole got eaten because he's a moron. The Locusts are apparently taking humans and turning them into their own kind. Don't ask me how the hell that works, because the game doesn't explain a goddamn thing.
That's the thing. It had to start with one person. But you're probably wondering, who could it have started with?
We'll have to wait and see.
Fantastic.
We'll have to explain that in Gears 5. The basic gist of it, combined. So yeah, we're kind of fucked now.
Okay, I can tell. Oh no! Oh.
See,
What are the horror elements?
Yeah, I was about to mention, Pedro. You told me that there were no more horror elements.
That's the thing too. I don't really consider this scary. Look at
good for you, Pedro.
Like, that's the thing, though. There's, like Jova said, the designs in the Coalition's
just
games.
Something doesn't scare you doesn't mean it's not horror.
I guess it's just that the Coalition's Locust designs are so colorful and, you know, tame compared to the originals. That
Pedro, just because killer clowns are entirely built around being colorful, and yet they scare the shit out of people.
Well, fine, whatever.
Okay. I said that the art style doesn't suit the game that well, but that doesn't mean that this stuff is not creepy as all hell. Like, you're literally seeing people mutated partway into locusts, and then when you cut them open, they're still in writhing agony and panic. That can definitely freak some people out. So, like I said, this is an interesting idea with the game here and there, you know, humans being turned into locusts here and there. Like, props to that. What I don't care for is the explanation as to how this gets started. Granted, I guess you could say that doesn't affect the horror elements here, so props to that, but the narrative reason, well, it's the kind that can make you bang your head against the wall to try and make sense of it. I mean, it technically makes sense, but it's so disappointing.
Well, here's the thing too. I watched a lot of fucked up horror movies as I was growing up, so I've become desensitized to this kind of shit by this point.
To be
Well, again, good for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, okay, let's be honest though, this does feel like a genuine good horror bit here and there, you know? Like, again, it sort of taps into one of the things I liked about Gears 3, especially with that twist that humans could become, mutated, lambent as well. Like, again, this is actually an interesting idea here and there. Like I said, interesting idea. And to be fair, the way that they execute the horror of it is pretty effective. Like, calling or not, the lighting for the scene is definitely well put here. Like, let it never be said that I completely hate this game, mind you. I just don't like most aspects of it. It does have some good bits in between here and there.
I guess I'll put it this way. It is technically horror, but it's not Gears style horror to me.
Now there's doors.
Yeah, honestly, I think it fits enough in the Gears style for, you know, humans getting mutated into locusts. Again,
well, I
it's
can
more
see
so...
what Pedro is telling. In the previous game, the locusts have been doing stuff like capturing humans and beating them into submission, or potentially just hanging them. This is a new entire take that relies more on body horror, but gotta be honest, it does reinforce the connection that they made with the Tyrannies of Warhammer 40k, so there's that.
I'll just put it like this. The idea itself is...
Wow! Sorry, John, I had to point this out. It literally started raining the moment we step a foot outside of that tunnel. Literally. Never mind, guys. God is now against JD.
I'm sorry, but wouldn't it have been better for it to be raining before we exit instead of it just starting right after we exit? Like, I don't know. I mean, I get it, you know, game and all, but wouldn't it be wiser to mask that better?
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
So get this. Apparently, in between the stage of becoming a fallen locust, humans are incredibly agile, like way more agile than actual locusts, to the point where actually becoming a locust is arguably something of a downgrade. Granted, I guess as locusts they have more body armor and still, but heck, that doesn't really stop the saw.
But in this case, they're more fragile yet more agile.
Is that it? Are we clear?
Think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, like I said, this is an interesting concept. Here, it unfortunately has a few problems. First off, nobody was really asking for the locust to come back. Like,
sorry. Go ahead and finish your thought, Joe. Sorry.
First off, nobody was really asking for the locust to come back. As interesting idea as this is, just have it be a different species or whatnot. Like, we really did not need to bring back the locust here and there. Secondly, like I said before, the reasoning for the catalyst of this all starting, well, like Pedro said, you're gonna have to wait until Gears 5 to get the full story on, so that in and of itself is pretty wonky storytelling.
And even then, Joe, they didn't explain everything to us. They didn't explain how the hell the locusts can turn humans into their own kind.
That was also... Oh god, yeah. That was...
Alright, now that actually works better for me.
Yeah, because it was a fucking jump scare.
Shira, do you need a recap of what's happened?
Yes.
Basically, crazy asshole, you know, the guy that stole Marcus's identity.
Yes.
He got eaten by a snatcher. Yes, the locust that has a vagina-like hole that sucks people up is called a snatcher. Ha 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 ha.
That's moving on.
I didn't write this, okay?
I know. Moving on.
Tom thinks he was being cleverer than he actually was. But anyway, basically, Shiroi, the Locust now, aka the villains from the first game, who were supposedly dead after Adam's sacrifice in the third game, are now suddenly alive again, and they're taking humans and turning them into members of their own kind. Don't ask me how that works, because neither this game nor the next one explain how the hell that works.
Basically, the main enemy for this level is literally humans. It's basically humans that are taken out of their cocoons prematurely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You remember that thing Kate was going on about the butterfly emerging from its cocoon here? That was all set up for the reveal that the locusts we've been facing in these games are humans that were put into cocoons and mutated into locusts here and there. Now, like I said, if you're expecting an explanation as to how this all started, you're gonna have to wait till Gears 5, but I will say this, the answer may disappoint you, especially if you like the ending of 3.
Not just that. The explanation itself is weak and lame, but it's even incomplete in its delivery. Yeah, so
maybe they're planning to complete it all the more with Gears 6. God help me.
Honestly, at this point, Jova, I don't even care anymore. To be honest with you.
Well, you're pretty much joining the club with most Gears fans after Gears 5.
It's one of those things where, okay, I get it. Like you want to have, like Theo said, couldn't you bring up just a new race of enemies, like an alien invasion or something?
Actually, I was the one who said that.
I also too suggested, but honestly, this setting also fits well with the invasion of the bodies nature, if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
I just don't really like the idea, and trust me, we're gonna get confirmation even in this game. I don't even have to bring up Gears 5 for that. We're gonna get confirmation in this very game that yes, the locusts of the original trilogy have survived to some extent, which again is so. What exactly? How exactly did they survive the EMP at the end of 3?
Specifically designed to target them.
Now one could argue,
and for the record, the game's never explained that. Go ahead, Joey.
Now one could argue, maybe there were some genetic mutations that allowed a select few of the ones in the original trilogy to survive here and there. One could argue that. It's kind of weird, though, is the plan at hand regarding you-know-who.
Even if I was going to accept that excuse, Jova, the game should actually point that out and explain that that's what happened.
Yes, they definitely should. Like, and you know, here's the weird thing: you could have easily have explained this stuff. Like, okay, let's ignore the fact that nobody was really asking for the locusts. So you want to bring back the locusts? Fine, fair enough. They're a classic enemy. So, for the sake of argument, let's say they really did want to bring back the locusts, which clearly they did.
Okay.
Make a good reasoning for it, or maybe say, there was these new hatchlings that the locusts left underground that weren't affected by the blast in there because of the new genetic mutations. Bam! There you go. Instantly a much better reasoning for it. Again, here's the...
That's the thing, Jova. When we're doing the EMP FMV of the 3, we even show the locust underground being affected as well, so that excuse wouldn't even work either.
Also, apparently this is an actual medieval castle for the equivalent of Sarah. So we're actually having a piece of lore even before the Pendulum Wars.
But don't you see,
know,
Tio,
I guess.
Everything has... Don't you see, Tio, the old stuff has remained intact. Let me just sum up the biggest problem with the Locusts coming back here. It's the retcon that's upcoming regarding who's in charge of the Locusts here.
Yeah.
Oh, you may remember, Tio, how me and Pedro have sort of hinted at there being a certain retcon regarding a certain character in this new duology.
It's literally the very last minute, the very last second of this game that gives you a dun 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 type of moment.
Let me put it like this.
And I guess the general reaction is, but why?
Let me put it like this, Theo. It makes bringing back Palpatine and Rise of Skywalker look like a good maneuver by comparison. That's how baffling the retcon
even the original concept by having a younger version played by Matt Smith.
Yes, trust me. It is like Rise of Skywalker on steroids with the retcon.
Yeah, it does. The interesting thing too is that I cannot say it's both. Let me put it like this too.
Get it? The mutated in the cathedral.
What the hell? Yeah, what the hell, JD?
Remember Teo, it's one of those grub holes.
Oh, fuck. Why does he have to make those sounds?
Sorry, Teo.
Oh, it's a berserker now. It's a healthy baby boy.
Yep. Complete with blood coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, run.
I just wish they would have the same color, because I don't like the white on them, to be honest. But anyway, here's the basic gist of it too. Gears 5... Okay, if Gears 4 is the Force Awakens of this franchise, Gears 5 is both Last Jedi and half of Rise of Skywalker.
Pretty much, yeah.
Also, there is a chance there are elements I may actually like.
Well, I can't promise you anything, but we'll see.
Okay. You might like the retcon. You might like it, but I'm just gonna put it like this. Going off of what I know of you, TL, I'm not going to bank on you liking it.
It depends.
Well, okay. Let me put it like this. You might like it. The problem is that, okay, like everything else in the duology of the new Gears games, it's an interesting idea. Weak execution, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a wild guess right now, Jova. My guess is he's probably gonna go. I'm gonna wait until Gears 5 before I make my mind. That's my guessing right now of what his reaction will be.
Well, there are some things of these games so far that I may actually be more tolerant, but I don't know. I don't even know if we're halfway through or not.
Well, remember this playthrough is 14 parts, so,
yeah, so
we're almost
halfway through.
Almost halfway through.
Okay. So Tio, in that case, let's do a bit of a gauge here. What has overall been your consensus of the game so far?
He likes the gameplay.
Like I said, the gameplay is serviceable. I wish the beginning sequence was still had the same style of the original trilogy to better transition into this new one, or make more sense stylistic. You know. This reintroduction to the locals, it's a bad retcon if I saw at least so far. But I will say this, at least it's trying its best to actually intimidate JD and the others and to extension the player. The white collar, I think it's because these are one, a new breed, and second, newly born. So I guess the thought process was like, yeah, they're like a new species that literally is born under your eyes.
Sure, I guess. I'm okay with them having a different color. I just wish it was a darker shade of some color.
I'll just say it to you. If you don't like this retcon of the Locusts, then there are more retcons to come.
I'm more concerned about what you have been foreshadowing so far about instead that character's retcon, but I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, don't worry. Like, I've already made my prediction of what your reaction is going to be. Let's see who's right. What's your prediction, Jova? If you had to take a guess.
Okay. If we're just talking about Gears of War 4's
the final scene of the game, yes, of this game, yes.
God. Okay. If we're only gauging that, then I'm kind of gonna agree that. Okay, I'm gonna say this. He'll probably be annoyed at first, but then he might say, "Oh, I'm gonna wait to see how Gears 5 handles this." Now, what would have been more fun is if we were gauging also his reaction to Gears of War 5's capping off, quote-unquote, of that retcon, because...
Also, Pedro, I think you're supposed to gain a technical advantage by shooting those ballsack that are dangling onto the ground, so they cause explosion towards the enemies.
No, actually, Theo, remember, these are locust cocoons, and some of them do have locusts in it, so I can risk myself.
Fantastic.
So basically, I'm trying my best to...
avoid destroying those, okay.
Yeah. Some of them are empty, but some of them actually have locusts in them. Trust me, I know, because this is my second playthrough that you're watching, so I already know. I already know it in advance. So
you experimented.
So
what's the benefit if they don't have them in there?
Well, less enemies to kill.
Like acid or explosion. Like I said, I guess the idea since how they're placed, you have to make them drop on top of the enemy.
It's one of those cases where I've said, like Theo said, the gameplay is perfectly so. It's basically just Gears 3 again, with some little things like that set piece we saw in the previous part. It's just that I might as well just be playing Gears of War 3, which is a much more fun game.
Well, hey, I mean, it's Gears 3, but with RTS sections that unfortunately in this game slow down the pace.
I didn't even care for them that much in Judgment, much least here.
I mean, at least in Judgment, we mainly agree that they were one of the few things to keep Judgment from being completely stale.
I guess it's just that, even then, I wasn't particularly a big fan of those either.
Basically, long story short, they took what was arguably one of the best things of Judgment and made it one of the weakest things of 4. Great job!
It is weird, yeah.
It's about time we got the hell out of here.
But yeah, okay, aside from the gameplay though, the main issue is definitely the narrative. which would not surprise me if that's one of the main reasons why this game apparently didn't do as well. Well, there was also that in the multiplayer not garnering people's attention as much either.
How about this here, Shirei? We're almost halfway through this thing. Considering what you've seen of the this is a 14-part playthrough, Shirei. We're almost halfway through.
Oh.
Based on what I've shown you from the original trilogy, how does this fare up?
It's not really the same at all, honestly.
Narrative-wise, I'm guessing.
It's just not as fun.
Even just in terms of tone.
This is pretty average, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I've noticed a lack of? Set pieces. Remember how many set pieces were in Gears 2 alone? With stuff like the giant truck, the giant worm.
Yeah.
It's not even just that, it's just the fun character interactions. These guys just...
They're average and bland.
They kind of just teamed up because whatever, even though we know that's not the case. We've had funny moments towards the beginning, and now this has just kind of died down a bit.
That's eventually right. That was Oscar, and Oscar has been eaten by a snatcher. So...
Yeah.
Well, it's like I said, Shiroi. I hope you enjoy when the game tried to be Guardians of the Galaxy, because now they're going for serious, grimdark tone. It's like I said, they can't commit to something to save their lives.
Well, that's the thing, Joe, but there's going to be moments later on where they're still going to try to do Guardians of the Galaxy style jokes. The problem is, this game, Tom lacks any kind of wit when it comes to writing humor. So... Except for one particular scene in Gears 5 involving Baird. But that's like the one.
You know, I'd say the writing of this game feels schizophrenic, but I wanted to save that for Gears 5, but screw it. The writing for this game feels schizophrenic as well. It's just gonna get a lot worse in Gears 5. Like, you know, it's funny. Maybe it's because you and me have been discussing Gears 5 as much, but I did not remember Gears 4 being this agitating narrative-wise, but no, it is.
Well, Gears 4 is one of those cases where the game is mostly just kind of incredibly mediocre. It has its big issues, that I've already pointed out. But it doesn't feel as lost and confused as Gears 5 does.
And yet, considering how our commentators have already had their fair share of complaints for this game, I can't wait to see their reactions to 5.
I swear to you, I don't even understand who the hell Gears 5 was made for. For Gears fans, well, you kind of destroyed the tone and narrative. I'm gonna get ammo too that I left behind.
I'll put it like this, guys. Whereas Gears 4 may feel like a clown clumsily tripping and messing up his...
I am.
Maybe you thought there was ammo, but then you realize no, there wasn't.
I guess. Go ahead, Joe.
Whereas Gears 4 feels like a clown accidentally tripping and messing up his act, but you know, you can maybe brush it off as an accident. Gears 5 feels like, well, just a cold-blooded murder of the franchise, being hacked up into tiny pieces beyond recognition.
Also, how many enemies are there? Seriously.
Sorry, Tia, we gotta pad out the game some more.
Well, Tia, you might have noticed how we're kind of bursting through these acts. And remember, this game only has 4 acts.
I know, but now, even with the DBs before, you get into these set of rooms where you get swarmed with so many enemies at the same time.
That's why I said, Tia, the game is short, so they have to pad it out. So.
Keep in mind, Tia, there are 4 acts in this game. We're already on Act 3, and a good ways through Act 3. The developers must have realized, oh crap, we're kind of burning through the plot quickly. Let's ramp up the enemies now. The excuse being that enemies are literally coming out of the woodwork from their cocoons here. But yeah, here's the thing though. Gameplay-wise, we're not even halfway through this game, yet we're technically kind of already 75% through the story. So you can only imagine how much padding there needs to be now.
Basically, yeah. The game now is gonna go really heavy on the padding. But yeah, like I was saying, I still have no fucking clue who Gears 5 was made for. For Gears fans, well, you kind of fucked up the tone and narrative. So and the multiplayer,
it was ruined.
and the multiplayer was garbage at launch. I think it's a bit better now, but from what I've heard, not that much better.
You want to know what's even worse, Pedro? When you think about it, they alienated even Gears of War 4 fans because, you know, Gears 4 fans were introduced to JD being the main protagonist.
Yeah, true.
But considering what happens to JD, well, people who entered the franchise with 4 are likely going to be, you know, alienated as well. So, yeah, who was Gears 5 made for?
You know what's basically, Teo, you know the whole take an old character and make him miserable trope that a lot of stuff like this likes to do.
Yeah.
This game decided to innovate and do it to a new character introduced in this game. Don't ask me, like seriously, like it's even more baffling. But anyway, well, yeah, is it for Fortnite / Apex Legends crowd? Well, the game is not free and to play. You have to pay $60 at release to play.
It's more clunky. Games like with Battle Royale in mind tend to pride themselves on agility, meaning that you can jump all over the place to do all sorts of things. Well, Gears is constructed to be methodical.
So scratch that. So who the hell is Gears 5 made for? I have no fucking clue.
Regular fans of shooters?
I
Not
guess.
even that. Okay, here's the problem, Dwebs. When it comes to regular fans of shooters, there are already so many other games that fill that.
Again,
any dinky PC at this point can easily run
Counter-Strike
Go, which is a much better alternative in general.
Yeah, it's
And
one of
hell,
the...
What about PUBG?
No.
No, it's exactly what Jova said, Dwebs. Like, yes, I guess a random shooter fan can potentially go into it. But you might there are much better cover-based shooters you could be playing, aside from this one.
Let me put it like this. It's like trying to go... Okay, it's like if during the platformer era, where platformers were becoming oversaturated, if you tried going for Bubsy saying, oh, he's a platformer, he'll certainly do well, and we all know how Bubsy turned out.
Anyway, everybody... Anyway, everybody, we'll keep trying to save both Kate's mom and Crazy Asshole. Maybe they're still alive, maybe not, who knows. I kind of stopped caring by this point, but I guess we'll see how things go from here. So, see you then.
Next time.
See ya.
Yeah.